attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and packs. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're just freaked out. Get ready for defeat now.
Well now, you're quite the interesting opponent. Tell you what, I'm going to give you a chance. And if you listen to me very, very carefully, I can help you get out of this situation. Join us, and we won't have much trouble, now would we? Besides, if you listen very, very carefully, I'm sure you can keep your quirk. Doesn't that mean a lot to you? I know it probably does. I like mine. All of them. I guess you can call me the jack of all trades. Or, well, what is it? I'm pretty sure I've heard the name thrown around there before. Jack the Ripper. Now, hello everybody. This is Kiru's show here, and whenever we last left off, we did have Midoriya. He met the Big Three, and exactly how they are in this timeline. They are different. Mario is a ruthless agent for the, well, company, which I still do not have a good name for. Anyways, now, along with Nejire and Tamaki, yeah, these three are their own elite little unit. And Midoriya, he went out to investigate these alleged sightings of a man with an explosion quirk. The man would be very useful to the agency, and it's a wonder as to why he doesn't work with them. His quirk would be useful. And now that he has been labeled a terrorist, he is a walking bomb. As they are driving throughout the city. Now, Midoriya did help Mei test out a piece of equipment, and it did successfully work. Midoriya then quickly heading out with Momo and Toru. They're going to be investigating, and Midoriya does walk into the man's apartments, finding that the place is completely empty. It doesn't look like anyone's been here in months. The place was under his name. And looking and poking around, it's quite simple to see that this place, yeah, it's abandoned. Now, that being said, Midoriya does actually walk out. And Toru does actually say that she's going to be doing a bit of reconnaissance, looking around, as she turns on her quirk. Her and her clothes disappearing. Midoriya simply just telling her, fine. However, to be careful, since it's not too sure as to what's going on here, what really happened. If the man is still around, then there's a possible chance that he might be close by. He won't just abandon a lot of things here. In fact, he's going to try and look for a stash. Now, Midoriya begins to poke around, and he gives himself a few different quirks. Info, and, well, X-ray vision. Looking into the walls and immediately finding the man's stash. Midoriya phasing his hand through and grabbing something, then pulling it out of the wall. And simply opening it. There is a few things in here. There is quite simply a stack of cash, a gun, and, well, It looks like a grenade. Midoriya, confused, looking into it and finding that there's nothing but a liquid. And from what he can tell, trying to examine it a bit closer, that this liquid is clearly something explosive. So this must be part of the man's quirk. Doesn't look like anything I've ever seen. Is that... No, it looks similar to nitroglycerin, but it looks a bit more salty. Interesting. Midoriya is thinking, as he pops the top off of the grenade, and simply tries to catch a scent. If he can catch the man's scent, then he can track him down. Since, well, you've had people with weird quirks before. Midoriya once had to catch a man that had a specific quirk. It had one of the core components to THC. So the man smelt, well, a certain way. Midoriya was able to catch his scent and track him down. And they are currently using his quirk for medical purposes. Chemicals that they can harvest, and things they need. Now, Midoriya, he then puts the top back onto the grenade. It smells... weird. And he begins to walk out, walking past Momo and telling her to follow him. He thinks he knows where the man went. Now, Midoriya then walks into the alleyway, and walks past the dumpsters, beginning by at least trying to catch onto the man's scent. It goes down underground. Midoriya moving downwards and ripping the manhole cover off of the ground, before simply just tossing it back down, next to the hole, asking Momo if she's going to come along with him, or is she going to stay with Toru. Now, Momo simply just says, Toru, well, she can't really be alone. She doesn't have proper quirks to combat the situation. And, in case there is someone lurking around here, then she needs to be ready, as she simply creates a firearm. Midoriya is telling her good luck, as he heads down. Now, with that being said, you do have someone who is stalking the situation. They've been watching Midoriya this whole time, watching the Grim Reaper, or Jack the Ripper. Surprised that he's going after their leader. And you do have somebody else. They are along with him, and simply just waiting. Now, Midoriya begins to fly throughout the sewer. He knows what's directly underneath him, and he does not want to make contact with it. Especially since it just rained the other day, so the water and the floor is especially slippery. Now, as Midoriya is making his way through, he's trying to track the scent. But it's a bit hard down here, especially trying to focus on it. Now, it's very faint, but he can tell it's coming from one direction. Trying to follow it and head through. The guy must have just been here the other day, meaning that he was trying to find his stash, possibly, but he didn't have enough time. Eyewitness reports said that they saw him there last night, or at least a suspicious-looking individual, and he didn't have his sleeve cut. So, where are you? Now, Midoriya, he does eventually come to an open area that has been sealed off. As he phases through the wall, through this makeshift barricade, and begins to look around. That being whenever he does encounter somebody. he sees a blonde man walking, well, up to him, simply just asking him why is he here. Ah, well now. I'm guessing you're Katsuki Bakugo. No dice. Why are you here? Oh, shame. Well, I'm investigating. I'm looking for him. And he left behind this. Midoriya holding up the bag, saying that it was easy to track him. So, where is he? I'm not telling you anything, bastard. Fine. Monoma. Quirk. Copy. I see. How the hell do you... Oh, shit. Oh, so you finally realize who I am. Pity. I should feel insulted. Then again, I don't really try leaving you alive. None of you can really tell the tale. Tsk. Good for me, then. Monoma simply bringing his hand to his side, before throwing something into his mouth. And he begins to copy a quirk. This confusing Midoriya. He didn't show off any quirk like that. His quirk, does it work off of what he sees? Interesting. Midoriya watching as the man rushes forwards. Now, meanwhile, back up on the surface, with Momo and Toru. Toru is currently on top of the building, and checking things out, wanting to know exactly where, or if anyone is following them. Her quirks allow her to hide. In fact, if she stays quiet, she is the perfect stealth operative. Her heartbeat doesn't even make a sound, and her footsteps are as light. Her footsteps are as light as they can be, without drawing attention. Her simply just running doesn't even draw attention. In fact, if she stayed invisible, eventually you would probably forget she existed. And well, she's simply looking around, and using another quirk. She's using a quirk she likes to call, well, it's a form of info checker, but it's also a form of zoom, Mei Hatsume's quirk. And she's looking around, not really finding anything, until she does go and look down into the alleyway, going to tell Momo she doesn't see anyone. As soon as she looks down, she does see, well, surprisingly, 3 names. Momo Yaoyorozu, and then another one. The other name, quite simply, is Ochako Yuyuraka. Then, there's a man by the name of Koru, I believe. Now, she is confused for a second, trying to alert Momo. As soon as she makes a sound and says that there's someone down there, the man lunges forwards and attacks. He jumped out of a shadow, or at least out of the wall, and Momo is off guard, immediately trying to swing backwards and hit the man. As soon as she tries to, she's basically covered in a shadow, and she begins by pulling the trigger. The light immediately illuminating half of the alleyway, and the man tries to retreat and back up, trying to stay away. Meanwhile, you do have Uraka, who, she jumps out of a shadow, and runs into and smashes directly into Momo, trying to catch her own attention, as she simply just taps onto her. As soon as all 5 of her fingers make contact, Momo goes smashing onto the ground, onto her hands and knees, trying to get back up. And she immediately begins to create something. Her construction immediately just bursting directly out of her arm, and it being something ginormous and metallic. Her being able to throw her arm upwards as she's able to directly look at whoever just knocked her onto the ground, Her body is still being pulled downwards, but her constructs, it's able to get her onto her feet at least. And she sees Ochako, who simply taps down on her fingers, simply sliding her thumbs together. Then, Momo gets heavier. She feels like she's being pulled down onto the ground. Thinking for a second, a gravity quirk. Before, Toru does try and jump down, trying to slide onto the other side of the building, and directly hit this person. As soon as she comes flying downwards, this is whenever she's caught by the shadow, and she's suspended in the air. The woman simply just saying that they should not have come looking for them. Really? Why not? Because we simply just want to try and help people, make things better. This world, this place isn't supposed to be how it is. We're trying to change everything, don't you see that? Oh, you're so gullible. What? Yes. You're so preoccupied with me, but what's going on down there? Momo is simply just looking at the manhole cover, saying that Jack the Ripper is down there, and he's following a scent. A little grenade left behind by your, what is it, boyfriend? Leader? Who cares? He's gonna die anyways. Ochako getting pissed off, and going to cock back her arm and directly sock Momo in the face. That being whenever a loud sound is heard. And it's on the other side, well, at least roughly, 2 to 3 blocks away, but it was loud enough to get their attention. Now, with that being said, this immediately alerts the shadow guy, who, as soon as he, well, got unfocused, Toru simply made herself visible, and released her quirk's other ability, light refraction, immediately filling the alleyway with light. As Momo, she tried to look away and close her eyes. She caught most of it, but Toru was able to make the shadow guy drop out of the ground, or out of the air, and smash onto the ground. The man immediately trying to run off and retreat, since he has to be in some place dark to retreat into a shadow. As soon as he does get away, or at least get out of the way of the light, he jumps into a shadow and immediately tries to get away. And then there is Ochako. Toru tries to get up and attack Ochako, but that is whenever one thing happens. Her quirk's light refraction wears off. The man immediately just jumping out of a shadow, grabbing Ochako and pulling her back in. And they look at the wall. Toru simply just asking if she's alright. And, well, she doesn't really have an answer. Simply just saying that she feels like she's heavier. She can't move her body. And eventually, Ochako releases her quirk. She's putting a strain on herself. And Momo is able to get onto her feet, pulling her hand out of this construct, and the two do try and find out what's going on across town. Or, well, a little ways away, not across town. Now, let's cut back to Midoriya back in that sewer system. Monoma charging straight at him. Midoriya simply bringing his hands up and telling him that that's not going to work. As Monoma is rushing forwards, he immediately gets stopped, his hand outstretched, and trying to hit Midoriya, or even get close to him. Simply just trying to attack Midoriya. Now, these little cartridges that he swallowed, they're a bit specialized and made a certain way. They contain droplets of blood, and whenever he swallows them, they stay in his system longer. He doesn't have to worry about simply holding on to one quirk, let alone 2 or 3. In fact, well, he's currently mixing all of them together in his body, And the strain, it's gonna hurt later. He grew in size because of the strength quirk. And, well, the regeneration quirk's helping his body stay together. Yeah. He's currently trying to grow in size too, using another quirk, but it's not really working. Monoma immediately then doing one thing. He can't hit Midoriya from here, so he sticks out his tongue. It's going to fly through the air and try and slash away at Midoriya, with a hardened ability. Midoriya simply just backing away, and dodging, bringing his hand up as you do see a little bit of a shine. And well, Monoma's tongue is quickly cut into pieces, or at least tries to be. There's sparks flying all around, and Midoriya can see this, confused, trying to simply pull his hands tighter and tighter. Monoma is fighting against his restraints, and he's trying to focus, growing in size as his skin hardens to steel. Trying to actually break free from Midoriya, as some of these wires do snap. Now, this is whenever he immediately is able to get closer, and smashes his hand into the ground as Midoriya jumps upwards, going to take flight, going to point his fingers downward and blast out. Now, this is whenever someone actually does show up to back up this guy. You do have, I believe her name is Setsuya. Her quirk is called Cut. And this is the guy who I said had the shadow quirk. His name is very hard to pronounce. Anyways, Setsuya, she tried to ambush Midoriya. Whenever he jumped upwards, this gave her room to try and jump onto his back. As soon as she jumped onto his back, she was able to actually cut off one of Midoriya's arms. It's then falling towards the ground. And Midoriya, he saw that, being able to grab his other hand and move it. Wires pulling the girl off of his back. And Midoriya spins around trying to fillet her. Or, well, not even fillet her. He tries to set her on fire and cut her into chunks. As soon as Midoriya's hand moves and he closes it into a fist, wires come together all around her, and immediately attach onto her body. Midoriya pulling his hand completely closed, and she appears to be shredded to pieces. Midoriya then quickly spinning around as the guy jumped upwards, and socked Midoriya in the face. He made physical contact with Midoriya, meaning that he just copied Midoriya's flight quirk. Now, Midoriya gets sent up into the air, along with the grenade he had flying down towards the ground. Midoriya looking up and simply just thinking, okay, well now, quirks. Strength, check. Durability, check. Stamina, check. Speed, check. Rushing in. Him trying to blitz this guy. As soon as he does get close enough, he does see him. He opened up the grenade. Midoriya being able to slam it downwards out of his hand, and try and uppercut him. The guy bringing his hand up and trying to smash it directly into Midoriya's face. This, hitting Midoriya and it not really doing anything. As you basically could describe the sound it made as steel hitting steel. A large tink. And the guy then does one thing. He smirks as he opens his palm. And blasts Midoriya. Point blank in the eyes. Midoriya backing away and trying to stay focused. The guy directly then kicking Midoriya as hard as he can, upwards, as he then goes to fly after him. The two fighting and breaking through to the surface. As soon as that does happen, Midoriya tries to strength out this man, trying to go against him. Midoriya is holding back this guy's giant arms, while the guy simply tries to grow in size more, and continues to do so. The guy is 5 times Midoriya's size, and everyone who's watching this watches as the guy begins to just let out explosions as hard as he can. They're hard enough to make him just take at least a step backwards from the recoil, as these explosions are actually beginning to damage some of the buildings around him and behind Midoriya, who currently is bending the man's arms, and simply just increases his own size, by being at the man's level as Midoriya just smashes his head directly into the man's nose, and does one thing. He throws out his arm, and phases it through his body, and tells the man one thing. Stop, otherwise he's going to stop his heart. And it's not going to be pretty. He could also just pull it out. Turn yourself in now. The guy is looking down at his chest, and trying to copy Midoriya's quirk. He can't do it. Midoriya just phased through his body. And he's simply just thinking, shit. As he just tells Midoriya, okay, fine. The guy beginning to shrink down, and so does Midoriya. As one thing does happen. As soon as Midoriya pulls his hand out of the guy's chest, he falls down into nothing. Midoriya, trying to quick time, react to this. He saw the man fall, and what happened? He saw a face and eyes in the ground, unsure of what that even means, trying to slam his hand downwards and pull the guy back out. As soon as he goes to slam his hand downwards into the portal, his arm gets cut off. And Midoriya, he simply just stands there. His left arm already regrew, and his right arm, he begins to grit his teeth and let out a bit of pain, before simply beginning by putting a pain tolerance quirk into his body, and trying to allow himself to cool down. Midoriya is taking a deep breath, as Toru and Momo do run up and see Midoriya, who's currently regenerating his arm from a stump, telling the two that at least worked out well. He got 1 kill at least. Really? Where? Oh, I shredded someone into chunks down there. Tell the team to go clean up, the pieces and study them. I want to know what that quirk was. She already took my other arm. Really? Yeah. Then again, it wasn't pretty. Now, with that being said, Midoriya does at least try to head home. And he then gets a phone call from somebody. Now, the phone call is about what they found in the sewer. They found some blood, and, that's about it. Midoriya said little chunks, right? Yes. There was nothing. Are you sure you saw what you saw? Yes, I am sure. And now, who is this? This is Toga, I guess you could say. I am the one they put in charge of the quirks. Really? So what of it? Well, if I sample someone's blood, I can copy their abilities. Really? I think that's actually quite similar to what I encountered today. I'm sorry, Detective, what are you talking about? Well, I encountered a man who copied my flight ability. And, from what I can tell, he copied 7 others, along with an explosive ability from a grenade. Really? Was it an inanimate object? No, it wasn't. It was part of someone's quirk. I'm guessing it has to do something with physical contact. I'm not too sure what the liquid inside the grenade was, but it kind of spilled all over him. And when he punched me, he had my flight quirk. I see. But I'm curious. Tell me about your quirk. Oh, well, not only do I work with, well, Miss Intelli, I work with 2 others. In fact, you can call us our own little specialized squad. I believe that you're currently at least 2 ranks above us, or in the rankings. Wait, I'm number 4. Then there's, well, Momo and Toru. Does that mean that you're number 7? Oh, no, I'm number 10. Oh, so you work with number 9 and number 8, then, correct? Yes, I do. Well then, I can't blame them. Anyways, just keep me posted on what you found. I am curious as to what that quirk was. Alright, will do, sir. And, well, I'm actually a very big fan. Yeah, sure. Anyways, goodbye. Midoriya quickly slamming the phone down on the receiver, and being a bit angry. He didn't kill anyone today. Then again, he didn't encounter a good fight. That was actually a bit fun, though. The guy was unique. A copy ability. Then again, it's useless if you don't have anyone else to copy. Then again, there was that explosion ability too. It was quite fun. His blood's getting pumped just thinking about fighting that guy again. Now, anyways, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing night. Catch you guys in the next part.